Hello, hello from the UK. I hope you can hear me. Hi, Slim Hofa. Can you hear me? Just testing. So, for you guys who are new to my channel, hi, I'm Kat, and I usually talk about true crime, conspiracies, investigations, and all sorts of related things. In all honesty, today I have no idea why I even started this live. I didn't really plan on it. Hi, Slim Hofa. But I really had to distract myself considering what happened over the last few days. So, yeah, this is a way for me to forget about everything. So, I guess I want to talk to you about Orrin and Orson West. It's only me and the kids in the house, so I might have to step out a few times. I'll keep the live open anyway, but just in case it will happen, I'll come back to you. If there are any issues with the stream, which I'm hoping there won't be, please let me know. So let's wait a bit longer, see if anyone else will join. I know there were some recent news articles about Orrin and Orson West investigation from yesterday and from the previous few days. I really wanted to make an earlier live, but I didn't get a chance to. Also, I was supposed to publish a video tomorrow. I still didn't get around to editing it, so it might only be up on my channel on Saturday or Sunday. Slim Hofa he is asking, did you see FBI had the ground penetration radar machine yesterday? Yes, I have seen, and that was one of the points that I wanted to talk about. And since you brought it up now, I think it's a bit late, don't you think? That they just decided now to use that ground penetration radar. And as far as I'm aware as well, they didn't find anything really. I mean, it's obvious that with the ground penetration radar machine, you won't be able to detect a body buried there, but it does scan layers and layers of soil, so they can tell if the soil, the layers were disturbed in any way, so they can actually figure out if there were any tools used to dig up. But as far as I'm aware, they didn't find anything. Slim Hoffa is saying yes, they should have did it the same day they drilled the front shed. Yes, I completely agree. And also, as far as I'm aware, the FBI was saying that they excavated the backyard. Please correct me if I'm mistaken, but this is what I understand, that they allegedly excavated the backyard, which, if you look in any photos or drone footage, you won't be able to see any backyard being excavated apart from those holes there. So I really don't know, what's going on even with the police, really. That thing with the radar machine, I have no idea why they've done it just now. It seems that for some reason they keep getting drawn back to the same area, to the same place around the house. And I don't get why. It seems to me like they are focusing their search and their investigation only in that area. I mean, I really have no idea what's happening. Unless someone keeps tipping them, giving them tips to go back there, I have no idea. And also, I have seen, since we are at this, I have seen today, I think it was, a video from AV Watchman YouTube channel. I think he's done this yesterday. He went around Cal City to a deserted area where apparently someone tipped the police off that they found bones. Now, about that, apparently the police was told that this person found the remains of the boys and they were looking to get the $100,000 reward for it. So, you know what? Sometimes I feel like it's a bit frustrating, really, because even if it's not news, like everybody is making it news, like the news channels out there, the media in general is making news out of something which is not even news, just so they, can get an article out there. Hi, thank you for joining. The thing with the bones, they've found similar bones in Bakersfield, if I'm not mistaken. It was around the end of December, I believe, where they allegedly were human bones, but obviously they've been tested and they turned out to be coyote bones, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly. Also, maybe I'm not spelling it right. Hi, Tabitha. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for checking it out. So yeah, the thing about the bones that I was saying, I mean, the reason why I'm saying it that everybody is jumping, like saying that it's news, is because usually you don't just find just a bone. I mean, if someone would bury someone, right, or if there would be a dead body, it takes months, sometimes even years, for the body to decompose to the point of having only the bones left. Yeah, of course, we have to consider the conditions, we have to consider the weather, all various factors. But the point is, we know it's a desert, but in all fairness, it's not Sahara Desert, okay? So it's not, there are not soaring temperatures where the body decomposes so quickly because of the heat. But also, if it's the desert and if it would be so hot, like a comparison, the Sahara Desert, for example, which obviously is not in California, in Cal City, the body does not decompose. It mummifies, which means that it's basically conserving all the evidence. I'm no expert, I'm no scientist, I'm nothing like that. It's just, my knowledge. My name is Mahmoud Makram from Egypt. Hi, I'm sorry I haven't said your name before, but the characters, I'm sorry I can't read them. So yeah, I was saying about the bones. In these circumstances, say for example, as it is right now in Cal City, the weather is quite cold. So again, the body wouldn't decompose so quick as to be left with bones, bare bones, with no flesh, no nothing, no, Slim Hofa is saying, while all eyes are on the house in Aspen Avenue, the West family is acting weird in Bakersfield. They cleaned out their backyard. They had a backseat car chair that was burned. You see, yeah, that's why I am surprised that the police keeps going back to Car City. It seems like someone is, trying to get them to focus only on that area, and they seem to fall for it. I don't know if on purpose, I don't know if mistakenly. I know that they need to follow all the leads and all the tips that that's given to us, but there is a point where you know they have to think, where did I look before I came to look here? Because it might be a reason why I'm being derailed from that particular location to this location. This is, my opinion, the way I see it. I mean, like I said, I'm no expert, but if you think about it, and sometimes it's easier to sort of being detached from the whole investigation that you see a better picture. Slim Hoffa is saying it's like they are purposely leading away. Exactly, yes. That's what I was trying to say, yes. And I think it was exactly the same thing with the bones that they found in Cal City. I mean, yeah, I know that everyone is, trying to help with the search and all things like that. But sometimes you have to think as well that unless it was done on purpose, obviously. But if there was someone else who was trying to be helpful, yes, I get that. But also, you have to think about the bones. The bones, fact here, they are bones, literally only bones. So, you don't see flesh, you don't see a body, you don't see remains, you see bones. It takes ages, well, not ages, but it takes potentially months for the remains to decompose to such a level that you are left with bones. So I don't know, what do you guys think? I don't want to sound like I'm crazy or anything. I'm just thinking that this is the second time that it's been happening. The same situation with bones. First time it was the animal bones found in Bakersfield, and now the bones which have been confirmed to be sheep bones. So you have to wonder here, for how long did that sheep's body stay there in that location, or maybe the bones were brought there, for this purpose. But if it would be naturally, like the sheep died there, I don't know, it decomposed there. So how long did it take for the flesh and everything before the bones were left? Tabitha is saying that lead was a joke. That lead was a joke. Yes, I agree with you. I do think that it was done on purpose somehow. They were trying to draw them there to that particular location. And I think that that's why they said that they have the remains and they want the reward, because maybe they were thinking that if the police hears that, they will be more confident and they will trust more in what they say. So obviously they will go to the location. This is a thing which is really well thought if you are thinking about it. Someone out there is planning this very well. And someone out there knows, I'm not saying that they are certain 100%, but I think that someone out there who is doing this thing, they know potentially how the police will react to their so-called tips, so to speak. I am sorry you can't understand English, but I will try to have a look and see if I can add any subtitles. Which language is it? I understand you, yes, I do. GS is saying you can learn English here. Yes, we learn together because I'm not English either. So I'm just hoping everybody can understand what I'm saying. So it seems that this search warrant, the last one they served yesterday, it was the fifth warrant when they went with the ground penetrating radar machine. So let's say five search warrants. Thank you, thank you. I'm trying my best. Sometimes I don't get it right, and I apologize if I don't, but I'm trying my best. And you know what happens? There's a big confusion in the house because I have my 4-year-old, Caleb. We are in the UK, and obviously he speaks English in nursery, British English. And we are a bilingual family. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. And poor guy, he's getting confused. He would say one word in Romanian, he would say another word in English. And at nursery, they even referred him to speech therapy because he's not talking properly because of us talking two languages in the house, so he's getting confused. So yeah, I was saying about the five search warrants. So the police and the FBI, they served five search warrants and still with nothing, or do they have info but they are not releasing? I am not sure what's happening. This the chief of police was saying in the latest interview, which I think again it was done yesterday, that they only have very few leads. It's very surprising, really, and they keep going back to their property and they keep going there, and it seems like only there. Hi, Catalina. Hi. I'm okay, thank you. How are you? Let's be honest, Jack is saying the bones looked bleached white. They could have been there a while, or maybe someone is planting them there to steer away from the other properties. Wasn't there some kind of acid seen at Aspen address? Well, according to, I think it was AV Watchman's video, yes, according to him, it seems that someone has seen Trezell with a couple of black bean bags, and he had some sort of acid and some clots in those. Although I'm not sure how, how true it is, how real it is. There was also another video showing that they found the cardboard box in their bin with blood on it, which in my opinion, honestly, I don't think that the police wouldn't have seen that if it would have been in their bin when they collected evidence. So I'm not sure that that bin actually had blood on the cardboard box. What is this about acid? That's what someone, I think it was a neighbor, anyway, a witness apparently saw Trezell with a few black bean bags, and he was heading towards the deserted area with those, and allegedly there was acid as well. Catalina, thank you. They are glass penguins. I'm sorry, I don't know Arabic. No, I'm sorry. For me, at least, it's a very hard language. So, what else was it? I've also seen another video that there was something with the grandma, some issues with the grandma, the adoptive grandmother at her address. People were outside and they were shouting at her, and she recorded them on video and reported them to the police. Also, the chief of police was saying that people shouldn't get on the property in Cal City, on the property or in the backyard, because it's still a private property and they will be trespassing, and obviously they can destroy any potential evidence, which I'm not sure which other evidence they refer to because they've had so much time already to collect everything they needed. I still do not understand why they keep going back there. To me, it seems like, going in circles. Is there anything else that you guys know about this? I don't feel like there's many updates. I have seen a lot of people are searching on the ground, and it's a really good thing, honestly, that everybody is pulling together. It's a shame I am not there, but I would really wish that the police would widen their search somehow and just don't focus only on that, on that area. I've also seen that apparently Trezell and Jaqueline West were spotted in a sex shop, so that's great. It's close to Valentine's Day, isn't it? So their kids went missing, and they are thinking about. Never mind. I'm just surprised that some people really did. They really think they won't be recognized. I think that Trezell at this point he would be recognized anywhere. He's wearing the same type of face covering. His eyes, I think, are unmistakable. Really. Tabitha is saying I live in California and there's not a lot of news coverage. I live in the UK and I have to say there's not a lot of news coverage here either. And there are so many websites which I can't access. Let's be honest, Jack is saying another lady podcaster was showing the clip where Trezell first goes looking in the van on the opposite property. You can see someone walk by the fence, so someone's seen him. Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that clip. It's part of the footage from the neighbor, isn't it? Sure. It's very weird that Trezell did that. Honestly, why would he do that? I mean, what was he trying to do? To like, look, I think that Trezell, he knew about that surveillance. He knew that the surveillance is there. And I think that he was trying to behave in a certain way to show that he is trying to look for his kids. The problem was that when he went in that van, he was never once spotted on the surveillance as looking around the house. You know, it's common sense that the first thing you would do in these situations would be to go and look around the house, not jumping straight in the van and drive the van away. But he hasn't done that. Let's catch up on some comments here. Sandy Nitz is saying, I think the whole situation is so suspicious. I just don't believe anyone would abduct two children. Yes, I agree. I don't think they would abduct two children either. Unless there can be a possibility that these two boys, Orrin and Orson, have been sold to a trafficking ring, and that's the most likely scenario, that they would be picked up. Maybe that's why Jacqueline was saying that they were picked up. It's very interesting the choice of words they are using in their interview, as if they are already familiar with the situation and with those terms. Hi, stranger with science. Thank you for joining. At this point, unless there is accidental drowning, the boys are either dead or kidnapped. I honestly don't see how an accidental drowning could happen unless they were left outside alone for a long time and they drowned accidentally. I don't know. But all I know is that when you have a 3 and 4 year old and you go with them outside near water, river, pond, whatever, wherever there is water, you do supervise them, because they are very unpredictable. You can tell them 10, 20 times, don't go there. You're not allowed to do that. They will still do it, especially if you keep saying no, because they are curious. They are 3 and 4 year olds. And then also there is another thing that I was thinking about now, because my husband is in the hospital, so it's only me and the kids home. And I have my 4 year old, and he's not been feeling himself because his dad is in the hospital. And I was thinking, some people were saying that Trezell and Jaqueline, is very unlikely that they killed both of them. on purpose, right? It must have been something accidental. Maybe they did something to cause one of the boys' death accidentally, and the other one witnessed it, and so they got rid of him to get rid of witnesses. Now, I have an issue with that. You know why? Because I have a 4-year-old. Orson and Orrin West, they are 3 and 4-year-old. And so, my 4-year-old, yeah, I don't think he could ever be a reliable witness. I don't think any 4-year-old could be a reliable witness. Do you know why? Because they might have seen, but they won't be able to, how can I say, they won't be able to understand exactly what happened and why it happened. And even if they would say to someone, this and this happened, I'm quite sure, I am 90% sure that they will not entirely say what happened. They won't. Because I'll give you an example. My boy goes to nursery. He's 4 year old, remember. My boy goes to nursery. He's fascinated by washing machines, right? And he's got a washing machine at nursery because of the COVID situation. They are washing their dirty clothing there, so they don't have to send them home. And he is always at the washing machine at nursery, right? Kindergarten, for those of you who are not familiar with the term nursery. And there was one day this other boy in nursery, and he wanted to play with the washing machine. And obviously, my boy, being obsessed with the washing machines, he didn't let him. And my boy told me on our way home from nursery that that boy hit him, right? And then I started getting into a conversation with him because I wanted to find out more. And I asked him, did he hit you? And he said yes. And then I asked him, did you hit him? And he said yes. And out of all that conversation, what I got was not that the boy hit him or he hit the boy, but either he hit the boy or the boy hit him. But I could not make out what exactly happened from the way he explained it to me. And trust me, he's my boy. I know him and I can understand when he's trying to say something because I am with him every day. So I don't think that they would have done it like accidentally, one, and then get rid of the second one because he witnessed. Kids can witness anything. In 1 month, 2 months, especially when they are so little, they will forget. I mean, this is the way I see it from my own experience with Caleb being a 4-year-old. Okay, I want to catch up on the comments. Please let me know what you think from what I've just said. Stranger with Science is saying that footage as the neighbor checking mail already confirmed. Yes, I know that the police was looking through the footage from the neighbor. Hi, David. Thank you for joining. Mohammed, yes, I do have children. Stranger with Science is saying kids get kidnapped all the time. They busted a trafficking ring a city over a few weeks ago. Yes, I've heard in Bakersfield. Yes, kids get kidnapped. Yes, yes, I'm not saying they don't, but where is the footage to prove that? You know, if we are to say, okay, the boys were in Cal City, right? According to the neighbor's footage, the boys were never seen in that backyard where they allegedly disappeared from. They disappeared through the back gate. So logically, they should have been in the backyard previously. And also the neighbor's footage then does not show any other van or car in the area at the time of their supposed disappearance. So yeah, I'm not saying that. I also have an opinion on the trafficking ring that they busted a few weeks ago. Is there a possibility that perhaps the FBI did that now to show whoever is involved with Orrin and Orson's disappearance that yes, they are onto them, sort of to scare them off into, giving them information, into confessing or, whatever they would know, whoever those people would be. Let's be honest, Jack, I still can't believe the missing poster had the same height, weight, and clothing for both boys. Oh my god, really? I haven't even noticed that. That's really strange. How can they have the same info when the boys are of different ages? 1 year makes a big difference, especially in height, weight, even appearance. Sandinitz is saying those kids at that age couldn't have got any distance on foot, and I don't believe they were abducted, so you can guess what I think happened to them. I agree with you, yes. They couldn't have gotten on foot far, no, no. Especially if you look at the area is deserted, there's barely any houses around, there are empty plots, then you have the desert, the deserted area behind. Where could they have disappeared to when it was open field? And where could they have gone? A 3 and a 4 year old to be so silent. And no, 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 I don't buy it. No, sorry, I can't buy it. No, because a 3 and a 4 year old, they are not so silent as to just go and vanish into thin air without anyone at all spotting them. Goodbye, Mohammed. David is saying, I'm rethinking the video footage of the neighbor checking the mailbox, but upon another look, this person watches the van drive off before turning the opposite way to the mailbox. What do you think? Are you talking about the neighbor from across the street? Stranger with Science is saying there have been reports of toddlers going several miles, kilometers in no time. Yeah, but wasn't the first I think it was after the first interview with the chief of police, wasn't the chief of police saying that one of the boys might have had a fractured leg? And so, with a fractured leg, how could they have gone miles? And again, they go miles, but how can they go miles without no one seeing them? And so quick. And then we also have the situation with the dog. If the dog was there, the dog wouldn't have been silent. That's definitely, he would probably have followed the boys. I used to have dogs, and I'm quite sure that if you guys have dogs, you know that those dogs follow you, especially if those dogs live with the kids. If the dog lives with the kids, then it's possible that that dog would protect the kids. Because I think that's what dogs do. I remember when I had a dog and I was little, well, not quite little, but like, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old, that dog followed me everywhere I went, because the dog was always with me and with my sister and with our family. Sandinitz is saying you could get a 4 year old to see something in a different way just by constantly retelling the story to them. Exactly. Yes, I agree with you. Yes, that's very true. And you can always change their mind by influencing them, especially when they are so little, because they don't know any better apart from what you are showing them and teaching them. GS is saying zero hits from the police dogs in Cal City. I feel like it's a waste of time. I agree 100%. I agree. There were no hits. In the first, I think that in the first interview, the chief of police was saying that the search dogs, they scented the boys in the house but not outside. Then in another interview later on, he changed his mind and he said that the search dogs and the cadaver dogs, they didn't get any scent of the boys. Yes, I think it was a complete waste of time. Even the latest search warrant they served, where they went with the ground penetrating radar machine, I think that was a complete waste of time. I cannot understand why they keep focusing on the same area. I thought that that was Trezell checking the mailbox. I'm not sure. I'll need to review the footage again because I've seen quite a few. Stranger with Science is saying the real reality is that anytime parents are on the news and not in tears for a missing kid are the perpetrators. Chris Watts, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, that lady in 83 who shot kids, etc., etc. Yeah, Stranger with Science, that's why I'm saying I'll need to review the footage because from what I understand, it was Trezell who was checking the mailbox, not the neighbor. Sandy needs, thank you so much for joining. Yeah, and have a good night. I don't usually go live so late, but I couldn't get any chance earlier today. A Stranger with Science is saying the real reality is that anytime parents are on the news and not in tears for missing kid are the perpetrators. Chris Watts, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, that lady. Did I read this already? I feel like I read it already. And if I did, yeah, I'm going to reply. I know that not everybody, not all the parents react the same in a situation like this, and obviously we can't speculate how, we would react if we are not in a situation like this. But I do think that there must be some sort of an emotion anyway towards your missing children as a parent. Whichever way you put it, I think that the emotion will be there because they are your kids. If they disappear, then truly is not your fault. You are genuinely worried for them, right? If we take Chris Watts, for example, in his interview, he was even laughing and he was so nervous when those dogs were barking in the house. You could see it in the interview how nervous he became. He was nervous throughout the whole interview. Then Lori Vallow, again, Lori Vallow, when she was laughing, she was laughing, and she acted like nothing happened with the kids. Is that the I'm seriously going to watch that footage. I can't watch it now because it will be an echo if I watch it now, but I will be watching the footage again. I also understand that the same neighbor sold his house. So now that you mention it, I do find something a bit suspicious here, yes. David is saying, I have another question. According to Crenshaw, the backyard of the Potomac house has been recently cleaned up. What are your thoughts about this? The Potomac house. Sorry, I'm a bit confused. Are you referring to the house in Cal City or is it a different one? I might not be familiar with all the terms. Oh, the house in Bakersfield. I'm sorry, guys. I'll just step out for 2, 3 seconds. I'll be back in a second. Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Like I was saying, it's only me and the kids here, so I had to go and check on Caleb. I've just heard today that apparently it was cleaned. Yeah. So I mean, we were all suspicious on the Bakersfield area. So if indeed something happened in Bakersfield, I do think that um, the the police being tipped in different directions, this can be a factor, as in they were trying to give themselves time to get rid of potential evidence. If something happened in Bakersfield with the boys, then this would be the perfect opportunity for them to do the cleanup before the police has a chance to go and search there. And it's possible that this is the reason why the police keeps being sent back to Cal City House. Stranger with Science is asking, have you seen that they did ground penetrating radar in the backyard today? Yes, I have seen, yes, and apparently they couldn't find anything. It seems to me that this radar machine, what they did today, it's a bit late, don't you think? Why didn't they do it to begin with? GS is saying I had to be negative, but could they be looking for a buried weapon? You know what? That's a possibility as well. Although I don't think that they actually got rid of any evidence to incriminate them anywhere in that house in Cal City or around that house, because they knew that the first thing the police would look for is around that house. So I think that if they indeed got rid of weapons or whatever evidence to incriminate them, it would have been in a different place. Not there. I don't think so. The thing about the ground penetrating radar, as far as I'm aware, because I've been working on another case which involved the same machine, I think the way it works is it just scans the layers of the soil. It won't be able to detect exactly what's in there. It can see, however, if there were disturbances in the soil, as in if someone was digging. So they can potentially see that there is a foreign object there, but they can't make out exactly what it is. As far as I'm aware, the police didn't find anything. Yeah. Yeah, they did bury the kids in the backyard, but I think that the police found the bodies after they dug in the backyard. The same sort of holes like they did in Trezell and Jaqueline's backyard. That is a very disturbing case, Chad Daybell. You know that they didn't physically do it themselves, I don't think, and so I don't think they will ever be, tried for actual murder or accused or sentenced. GS, are you familiar with the Madeleine McCann case and Stephen Birch? Didn't they buy that van when they moved from Bakersfield to Cal City? It seemed really weird that they would buy a van with tinted windows, especially if they would be carrying kids in that van. Yeah, GS. Well, Stephen Birch was using a ground penetrating radar for to try and find the remains of Madeleine McCann, and he did a bit of explanation around how it works. So that's why I was asking you. Kate is asking, what do we know about Jacqueline West's mother? Did the family live together at the Casalona apartments in Bakersfield? I am not 100% sure as far as I know, but maybe I don't know everything about it. I think that there were only Trezell, Jacqueline, and the kids living in that apartment. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. David is saying that van was new. I did not know that. I'm not sure if he was new or not. As far as I understand, I know that they've bought that van before they made the move. After they bought the house in Cal City, but before they made the move from Bakersfield to Cal City. I might be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, but as far as I know, let's be honest. Jack is saying maybe they should trace the old van for evidence. Yes, I've seen another video from AV Watchman, and it seems that he did spot the old van in Bakersfield. That's what he's been told by a neighbor of, I think he was the adoptive grandparents, and the van allegedly was parked there, and it seemed that that same van was Trezell's old van. And now I'm not sure if the police searched that van or they didn't. I have no idea. David Jr. is saying, yeah, if they had another vehicle prior to all of this, then that vehicle needs to be found and searched. That's correct, yeah. Although the thing with the van that AV Watchman spotted there was that it didn't have a registration plate, it didn't have a number plate, and it was parked on the road. So it was right next to the adoptive grandparents' house. Stranger with Science, I'm sure they checked both vans. It was still in their possession. Yes, they might have, yes. Though you see, we can only speculate here because we don't have all the information released by the police. The van with the seat burned. AV Watchman was referring to that old van as the ice cream machine. Apparently, the adoptive grandparents, as far as I understand, they have some sort of a business registered at that address as selling ice cream, something like that. And the AV Watchman was saying that apparently the ice cream is like a code word for pedophiles or trafficking rings. David, if you watch AV Watchman's videos, those are the same ones I am watching as well. And I also know that AV Watchman had another video where apparently Trezell and Jaqueline were spotted trying to buy an SUV after the boy's disappearance. So I think that the van was still in the police's possession, and at the same time they were trying to buy an SUV. But what if that old van is not parked somewhere, where they have family around? Maybe not. Maybe it's not parked in such an obvious place. right? I um I left in one of my previous videos a link to AV Watchman's video. He only talks about that SUV a few minutes maybe. Just give me a second and I'll see if I can find that video so I can put up the link on live chat here as well. Is it this one? I wonder. Let's see. Yeah, I found it. So So guys, I'm giving you the link to that video. It's around at 7 minutes 40 or so. So this is AV Watchman briefly mentioning that they got a report from someone that the parents were spotted there at a dealership trying to buy an SUV. Now, I'm not sure, or AV Watchman hasn't mentioned if they actually bought that SUV, but it seems that they were spotted trying to buy the SUV. Hi, JD. Thank you for joining. David is saying it would make sense for them to want to get rid of a third vehicle as well. I do agree with you, but I also want to add here that if they have vans, cars, no matter what they have, if they did plan this, or even if they didn't, and let's say it just happened as an accident, when they started cleaning up that house in Carl City or in Bakersfield or wherever they were trying to get rid of evidence, I think that they must have thought about all those vehicles as well. Alice is asking, how do they have any money? Honestly, that's my question as well. How do they have any money? Where from? Honestly, where do they get the money from? Before they moved to Cal City, right, when they still live in Bakersfield, they bought the house in Cal City. And as far as I'm aware, Trezell's only income was selling the beats he creates. And allegedly, he made around $10,000 per year selling those. Then Jaqueline, her only income was from fostering and adopting. So that was her income. And again, I'm very surprised as to how they were able to get a mortgage for the house. First one. Second one, how were they suitable parents for adopting and fostering? Savings. Let's be honest, Jack is saying on Google Earth, there is a lot of white vans with blacked out windows. The Potomac address, I've seen shot 5 of them. One is identical to the one they have now, but with a black hole in the middle. Right. But it's Google Earth, like updated, up to date, or savings. I don't know. I honestly don't know if they have any savings, but where would they get the savings from, honestly? Alice is saying they had to borrow to close on the house. Jade is asking, did you hear about them going to an adult shop? Yes, I've heard. Yes, apparently they were spotted at an adult shop buying, I think, sex toys or something, which is very weird. I mean, I do understand it's close to Valentine's Day, but come on, your kids have gone missing and, you are thinking about those kind of things. I can't imagine. David is saying, have to go, but if you are still on in 15 minutes, I'll be back. I'm hoping I'm still on. Hopefully, yes. Hi, Chelsea, sorry. Crenshaw called Cal City PD FBI in Bakersfield PD to report the white van and the suspicious backyard fire, but she was totally blown off. They have had almost 2 months to get rid of evidence. Exactly. And the police seems to be going back to the same place, the Car City house. 5 search warrants? What for? Honestly, what for do you need 5 search warrants? I don't get it. They seem to be going to the same area, they are circling around the same area, they are not thinking about moving out of the area to the previous place. I don't know what they are thinking, what they are not thinking, but to me, something is just not right. Alice is saying there was video of the back of the seat burned and the grandparents' neighbors said there was a fire but can't know for sure. This is the problem. This is the problem that we are having because the police is not following all the leads they are getting, which can prove reliable. Honestly, I don't know what is the criteria. I don't want to criticize the police. I'm not saying they're not doing their job, but all I'm saying from what we see, it seems that they are never at that place when it's needed. And like you mentioned, it's been 2 months. They could have gotten rid of all the evidence by now. And they're not even suspects. And I'm quite sure, although the chief of police didn't say that they refused the lie detector test, I think that they did, in my honest opinion, by the way that the chief of police replied to the question asked by the reporter about the lie detector test. I think that they refused. But the chief of police is not saying that. And to me, if they did refuse the lie detector test, although that is not admissible in court, to me, if they refused, it shows guilt. Stranger is saying, where does the police say there are suspects? Plus, police will lie if the truth will hinder an investigation. The chief of police said that, not in his last interview, in the interview previously, the other interview before the last. Just, I think it was just last week. He said that they are not suspects. They have been questioned so many times, but they are not suspects because the reporter asked him and he said they are not suspects. And also the reporter asked him if they do have any suspects and he said no. Alice is saying they said Scott Peterson wasn't a suspect. They held it back until we found out he was the only suspect. You know, that this very well might be the case here as well. If indeed they do have suspects, they might not be releasing that info so they don't scare them off or something like that, which obviously it's understandable. The way I see it, there are two things here. It's either that they can't be bothered with the whole investigation, which I don't think is the case because there is a lot of public pressure on this. Then there is another thing which we might get to the wrong conclusions about the police not doing enough because maybe they have evidence, they have their suspect, but they don't want to release anything to the public in case it would damage the investigation, which again it makes sense. Charles is saying the only reason they are searching again is because it finally got national attention and they want to look like they are working the case. Car City isn't equipped to handle this case. There was a point where I believe that as well. And I was also saying that perhaps because Orrin and Orson are black, don't get me wrong, maybe they thought that, they it could be just, pushed aside away and, get it done with. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. Don't get me wrong here. All I'm saying is that I've been doing videos on different other cases as well, and I see that there is not much interest in, in general, black people who died because of either it was because of the police or children who passed away at the hands of their parents. If you guys have a look at my channel, I have a few videos on there about Gabriel Fernandez as well, about Ayana Jones, about Breonna Taylor. Stranger with Science is saying, God, it should have asked if there was any person of interest. He did ask. So the reporter asked if there was any person of interest, and the chief of police said yes, there was. Then the reporter asked the question, was it one person? Were they two? How many persons of interest you have? And the chief of police said that he cannot comment or he cannot disclose that. So my guess is they don't only have one person of interest. So, there's a few possibilities here. In a way, I'm thinking that they might already have them as suspects, but they are not releasing that information. I'm thinking about both Trezell and Jaqueline. Are the other children back with them yet? The police must think they are somewhat involved. The children are not back yet, as far as I understand. Apparently, the biological children and the foster children, they are with social services. And according to the chief of police, social services at this point are going to determine when they think the kids can be sent back to their parents. So it seems that the police does not have a hand in this. It's social services who decide. Chelsea is saying they have not searched at all. They have not given the recent pics, even though they have phones back. They refuse lie detector. If they had taken it, the chief would have said so to get public pressure off. I do believe that they refused the lie detector test. Yes, I believe that as well. The chief of police didn't say anything if they refused, if they agreed. He only said that it's not admissible in court anyway, which to me doesn't make any difference. Well, it does make obviously a difference in convicting them, but in the public's eye, I mean. Alice, not true. They brought in FBI since day two. Yes, they have. Chelsea is saying exactly this case is only staying in focus because of amazing YouTubers like yourself. Thank you. I am trying the best I can, and I'm doing this because it's very frustrating, and I'm also thinking that these little boys, the reason why I'm doing these videos on these cases is because I am a mom myself. I have children as well. And I cannot, I don't want to imagine what a parent goes through when these things happen. And then when I start reading more and more about a missing child's case, and when I feel like there's foul play involved, like in Orrin and Orson West, I cannot not get involved. You see, for example, my 4-year-old is sleeping in his room, but on the other hand, we don't know what happened with Orrin and Orson, and one of them is 4 years old. So it's very close to my heart, if I'm being honest. Let's be honest, Jack is saying, surely if the police have said they are not suspect, there would be no reason to keep the children away. The chief of police said that it's up to social services, apparently, in one of his interviews. So on another hand, yes, I do agree with you. Yes, I think so. Although I think, in my honest opinion, it would be devastating for the social services to release the children back into the care of the adoptive parents and, the biological parents. I have a feeling they'll never see those kids again, Alice is saying. You might be right. Chelsea is saying this is the only case I've ever seen the police act so cryptic and evasive to questions. They can disclose more without jeopardizing the case. On one hand, I do agree with you. Yes, I think that if they could disclose something without actually disclosing everything, but at least to give the public something to reassure us that they are doing everything they can, because at this point everybody is speculating, and a lot of us are wondering what is the police doing, and a lot of us are even accusing them of not doing enough, when truthfully, if they would have a press conference, they don't have to go into very much detail to compromise their investigation, but I do think as well that they can say more without compromising the investigation. Alice is saying if the parents had passed a polygraph, they would shout it from the roof. Lol, they failed or refused. I don't think they failed, I think they refused. Or it can also be that they failed. Look, for example, at Chris Watts. He knew from the beginning he's gonna fail the polygraph, yet he took it because maybe he was, I don't know what he was trying to do. Maybe he thought that if he refuses to take the polygraph test, he would appear guilty, so he took it anyway, although he knew he's not gonna pass. The Wests are not acting like any normal parent would act, period. I feel the same way if my 5-year-old grandson went missing. I'd beat on every door in that city. I'd be in front of every camera. Exactly, yes. Yes, I agree with that. Although we can't put ourselves in other parents' shoes when their child went missing. There are similar reactions you would have. I'm pretty sure 100%. I'm sure I wouldn't get out of the house and jump right in the van and drive off without even looking left or right for the kids. I wouldn't. No, I don't think that's the case. And then also we have another thing where if you look at missing children's cases and if you look at genuinely concerned parents who had nothing to do with their children's disappearance, all these press conferences you see on YouTube, you see in the news, you see everywhere, those parents, they can barely keep themselves collected in front of the cameras. They do not care if someone advised them, don't be emotional or, don't cry, be clear. They cannot help themselves. It's just the emotion. It's the emotion you are feeling because you are feeling the emotion that you lost your child. Catalina is saying, I just seen on YouTube that ground penetration found missing boys. Really? I'm going to check that right now, but I've seen the ground penetrating radar. It didn't find anything. Can you send me a link, please? I won't be able to have a look at this. If I'm looking at this now, you will hear an echo, so I won't be able to watch the video right now. But if I can please have the link and I'll watch it after I finish the live stream. I wonder if it's possible the parents sold the kids. More speculation. That can be a possibility as well. You see that Jacqueline in her interview, she said that the kids were picked up. And again, if you think about it, usually when someone says, they've been picked up, it means that they know exactly what they're talking about. Like, for example, I'm picking my kids up from school. It's in their press conference, they used some really bad choices of words, honestly. Like, I don't know. It just seemed weird to me. It seemed rehearsed. It seemed scripted. The way that Trezell was talking, he was talking so robotically, like with no emotions whatsoever. Like he was trying to, find cues everywhere and trying to remember what he needs to say next. That, in all honesty, that press conference was not right at all. No, it was just weird. Chelsea is saying it's just feeding the rumor. Yes. Yes, I agree. Yes. Alice is saying, notice the grandparents don't have the kids, they're in foster care. I wonder if they were even offered the remaining kids. I think that it might have been a process that the police followed in this case because obviously they don't know if the grandparents were involved or not. But now that I'm thinking about the grandparents, were the children removed from the grandparents by the police, by social services, I mean, or were the children really on holiday at their grandparents? Let's be honest, Jack is saying, in my opinion, this is the way it would have gone down if the Madeline case. In the Madeline case, if the McCanns were not doctors, look at the coverage the John Bennett case got. Yes, I think so. But in Madeline McCann's case, it's a whole different story. It's a big scale cover up, in my opinion. It's way beyond our understanding, I think. There is a reason why these doctors are protected. And it's not because they are doctors. Charles is saying, as far as human trafficking, statistically, the age for human trafficking is 11, 15 years. The director of said there's never been a reported case in US where two kids of that age range were sold into trafficking. In a way, in a way, it's understandable because being 3 and 4 years old, they are still not babies, but they are toddlers and they have a certain behavior. And I'm not quite sure that anybody would want that as a headache. That's why in my Madeline McCann case, that's why I said to me it seems impossible for her to have been abducted because we know that she was a handful, she was noisy, and basically she was a 4 year old, energetic toddler, almost 4 year old. And so it's quite obvious that she wouldn't be quiet. And then that begs the question, why was she taken and not the twins? Anyway, if you guys are watching me now and you are not familiar with the Madeline McCann case, there's no point in me going into detail right now, but it's a big deal. Under profiling evil, I've seen one of his videos earlier today. I haven't seen anything that. Are you talking about the live video that he did? Because he's the one who actually said earlier that the police confirmed they didn't find anything. Let me see. But this, I think you might have got it wrong because the title says here, can ground penetrating radar find the West missing boys? So it's like he's asking questions. He's asking a question. Yes. Charles is saying, I feel one of the parents lost temper with one or both kids and it was a rage killing and cover up began. They have no reason to lose that income from adoption. Yeah, but then I was saying this earlier, there's something which doesn't sit right with me for this scenario. Okay, I get it. They lost their temper, killed one of the boys when they lost their temper. Somehow it happened and they killed the other one, so there's no witness. Again, the boys were 3 and 4. Either way, 3 or 4, none of them will remember specifically what happened, or they probably won't even be able to understand or realize that what happened was wrong. So I don't know. Yeah, they didn't find anything. Yeah. I've seen one of his lives. He was live with 10 to Life channel as well. And he did say that the police confirmed that they didn't find anything with the ground penetrating radar. I cannot understand why they just brought in now the ground penetrating radar machine. I'm getting my words muddled up. It's late here. It's like 1 o'clock in the night. Stranger with Science is saying kids who have gone through a bad situation can have a fully functioning memory at very, very young ages. I'm not saying they don't. They can, yes, I'm not saying, but they can also be influenced into or fed a story, another story. Alice is saying child therapists can easily get that info out of a 4-year-old. I'm not sure I agree entirely. My 4-year-old, for example, he wouldn't be able to explain what happened if something would happen. So I guess it depends. It also depends on the individual child. JD is saying, do you think it's another Shannon Matthews case where somebody find the boys and claim the reward? There was actually a thought actually crossed my mind here a bit earlier on, and I was saying that what if perhaps the biological mom, she had some sort of an agreement with Trezell and Jaqueline for the boys to get back to her, because obviously we know that she wanted the boys back, and they had some sort of a financial agreement, like saying, for example, Trezell and Jaqueline can keep the payments for the boys as long as she has them, and maybe she will come back saying that, oh, I found the boys, but in all this time maybe the boys are already with her. I don't know, I'm just trying to think of various scenarios here. Hi again, David, I'm still here. Hi, Bimi Counseling, this is a total case of a cult activity. This, the Orrin and Orson West case, how come? Charles is saying the human trafficking director was on profiling evil or duty wrong the other day. I forgot which one, but I think duty wrong. Let's be honest, Jack is saying, could they have been left alone with the dog and the dog attacked them? A bit of a far stretch, but who knows? I actually covered this in one of my previous videos about the Orrin and Orson West case. I did put that theory as well, but I don't know why why would they cover for a dog? Well, no, hold on a second. Hold on a second, okay? So, say on the 19th of December, let's say that it is as they said, right? On the 19th of December, the four kids, apart from Orrin and Orson, go to Bakersfield to their grandparents or for their Christmas shopping. I'm not sure whichever way it went. Even in both possibilities, either the holidays or the Christmas shopping on the 19th of December, four kids go in the van. Trezell and Jacqueline go in the van. If they went to Bakersfield, that's over 1 hour drive. Potentially, these kids, Orrin and Orson West, let's say for a moment, they were left home alone with the dog, right? Something happened. We all know how unpredictable 3 and 4 year olds can be. I have no idea how they could have trusted that dog to be alone with them. It's enough to pull the dog's tail playfully, and the dog will bite because the dog will defend itself, right? They covered this accident from the dog. They covered the accident because they were thinking that if social services would find out that the kids were left alone, they would be accused of neglect, potentially leading to losing even their biological children. This could be a reason. This could be an option as well. But I'm not quite sure. It is far fetched. They, in a way, they could have called an ambulance, but what if by the time they came back from Bakersfield, going and coming back is 2 hours, more than 2 hours? We have to remember that. What if the boys already passed away and they had to cover it so they don't lose their biological children? Because we all know that a 3 and 4 year old cannot be left home alone, unsupervised, or so to speak, supervised by a dog. Let's be honest, Jackie saying a cold could explain all the animal bones and the date they disappeared. Yeah, but what else would make you say that it's like, a cult, apart from the animal bones and the dates? Catalina is saying when they showed the adoptive parents coming back from dropping the four kids off over grandma house, they didn't get a car with no gifts, they had no bags. No, they didn't. So, I think the most plausible story here would be that they dropped off the keys to the grandparents for the Christmas holidays, as they said in the interview. So, again, this does not explain why the boys would have been left alone for more than 2 hours. Charles is saying they had no way to know the reward money would ever get to 100K. But her family has been investigated and cleared. She had no clue where they lived until it was on news. Yeah, yes, I do agree. It was just another scenario there, just a theory. I was thinking it's maybe worth mentioning. To me, the biomom seemed genuine, and she seemed genuinely worried, and she genuinely seemed to have wanted to take the boys back. And even that situation to me seems a bit suspicious, the way that she lost the boys in the first place, as it seems she came home from work and then the kids were taken by social services on the reason that she was found to be using drugs. She is saying that she used medical marijuana for which she had a medical note. She presented the medical note to the judge. The judge didn't budge. He didn't agree to take that note into consideration, and boom, the the kids were put into foster care so quickly, which to me it seems a bit suspicious. Alice is saying, I think he beat them both beyond where he could keep them alive. Maybe only one died accidentally. He said to have a bad temper. I have heard that as well, that he seems to have a bad temper. Since he was a teenager, if I got it correctly. Oh, I'm trying to catch up on the messages here. Um, by the way, I'm so happy that we did this live now. It really took my mind off other things which I have going on with my husband being in the hospital. I've lost the count. I've lost the, where is it? Ah, David is saying, can we talk about the bottles of alcohol found in the garbage the day the kids went missing? Why hasn't anybody gone around the stores that sell alcohol and asked if they've seen Trezell and Jaqueline? Unless the police have done that and they are not releasing this info. Yes, I do agree with you. Why has no one gone to the shops? Yes, and it seems that Jacqueline, she had the DUI. Am I saying that correctly? I'm not quite familiar with that DUI, for driving under the influence. Yeah, a few years ago. So apparently she drinks a bit. Alice is saying, Chelsea, with Shannon Matthews, they didn't know what the reward would be. They just assumed there would be one. It's very interesting to see about the Orrin and Orson West reward that he, from £10,000, he went up to £100,000. Not, sorry, not pounds, but dollars. Sorry, it's the currency I'm using here, so I'm getting mixed up. Stranger with Science is saying, I do see a scenario where these little boys were confused and were trying to find their bio mom and left the house. If so, then since no bodies, they would be submerged or in a drainage system. I really don't want to think about that. I really don't want to think about the negative stuff. I'm still hoping that the boys will be found alive, although this is a possibility as well where they're trying to look for their bio mom. Yeah. And they I don't know, they got lost somehow. Something happened. It's very sad either way. GS, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donation. I don't know why it's not popping up on the screen here, but thank you so much. Buy a coffee, next hospital visit. Thanks for the chat. I can't visit, I'm afraid. That's why I am, concerned a bit. They don't allow any visits because of COVID. Chassis is saying, I think kids were killed before the move. The reason they reported when they did this because Biomom asked social worker if she could bring her gifts for the boys. Social worker called West and they refused, but I think they got scared. Yes, I do think that this can be one of the reasons. I think that the kids disappeared. Something happened with them way before they moved to Cal City in Bakersfield, and I think that it happened after the CPS visit, social services visit in Bakersfield. I know that when you have foster children and adopted children, there are regular visits from CPS. So I assume that something happened between their last visit and also their next visit, if it makes sense. And also with Christmas holidays just around the corner, the biomom wanted to leave gifts, and probably CPS had to visit at some point as well. So they had to come up with this missing situation. They had to do something because they just couldn't produce the boys. JD is saying with Sharon the reward was confirmed. Alice is saying they were 1 year and 6 months when they saw Biomom. Orrin and Orson. They might have been 1 year and 6 months, but you never know. When there is a connection, there is a connection. There's also the separation anxiety as well. I really don't know. It might be far-fetched as well, this theory. Catalina is saying no Christmas gift when they got out of the car. No, there was no Christmas gift. So I assume that it was meant to be the trip to drop off the kids for the Christmas holidays to the adoptive grandparents. David is saying they are supposed to be living a holistic lifestyle though. Yes, supposedly, yes. According to their realtor or estate agent. But I think that Trezell came up with that story only to please the realtor, if I'm honest. So he was trying to sort of, mold himself around her preferences because he knew that there will be a point when he will need a favor. So they became really close friends because she was a holistic person, and so he said, so he became what she wanted him to be, if you get what I mean. So all of a sudden, Trezell was saying that the reason why he moves from Bakersfield to Cal City is because he wants to have a house with a backyard where he wants to grow vegetables. So, he lives off the land, apparently. Chelsea saying this case is corrupt by CPS. Heads will roll. Watch. I honestly think that CPS somehow has, a role in this. I do. And it wouldn't be the first time that this is happening, and it wouldn't be the last time that this is happening. Let's be honest, Jack. Bio granddad thinks the CPS were involved from the beginning. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. And again, on the other hand, if it's about a trafficking ring, I'm going back to this because I mentioned this in one of my previous lives. If indeed it is a trafficking ring, then you would need to have a lot of connections, starting from CPS, then the judge. The judge supplies the children to CPS, apparently adoption, from parents who are found not suitable, but who actually decides when the parent is not suitable? The judge, CPS, either way, you need to have a connection here and there and then there and in the police as well for this trafficking ring to actually work, because you have your supply from the CPS when they are taking the children, then you have the chain from the judge who decides that these children have to be taken away from the parents, and so on, and it goes and it goes. Stranger with Science is asking, what is wrong with your husband? Hope all turns out okay. Well, he had to have an emergency surgery yesterday. It seems that it was appendicitis, but they couldn't perform a keyhole surgery because his heart rate was dropping, so they had to perform an open surgery. And he's being pumped with morphine as we speak. He had his surgery yesterday. On Saturday during the night, he had a flare up. He had no idea what's happening. He kept on calling my name. I was sleeping with Caleb in his room. He kept on calling my name. I didn't hear him. He was shaking really badly. He thought that he's having some sort of organ failure or something, but he didn't call the ambulance. He fell back asleep on Sunday. He seemed to feel better, but he was still in pain, and I pressured him to call the emergency services because I felt like it will be appendicitis, if I'm honest, because I've seen one of my colleagues in high school when she had a flare up, and he was exactly like her. So I said, you have to go because it can be dangerous if it bursts. And it turned out that, yeah, it was appendicitis, and he was supposed to be released today, but he couldn't do it, so he will only be released tomorrow. I can't go to the hospital because I can't visit, and also I have the kids. I don't have anyone who can help me, so yeah, it's basically just us here. BME counseling is saying all these children were never allowed out in the world. They were all being controlled and raised to believe only what is said. They're programmed. Yeah, I mean, I've heard as well from AV Watchman. He did an interview of one of the neighbors in Bakersfield, and the neighbor was saying that he's never seen those kids outside or playing. Although I still don't see how it's part of a cult, really. Honestly, I don't have a lot of research done in cults, but I don't know. Chelsea is saying no, bio mom was at work and child was with babysitter and other kids were rough housing and landed on his leg. Sitter cum not let her leave. When she got off work, she took son to ER and CPS removed him. Right. Yeah, like I said, there are conflicting stories out there. I read this and then I read, an opposing story, and sometimes you just don't know which one is which. Let's be honest, Jack. I hope your husband is okay. Thank you so much. Yes, he's feeling better now. Chelsea is also saying she was pregnant with the other child at that time, so they automatically removed second child when she had him. She did all classes to get him back, but judge had the problem that she had the legal marijuana card. Yes, I knew something about the marijuana. She said that she used it for medical purposes. Although I do think, in a way, that that judge was not being very fair. I mean, it seems that you know more about this than I do. I'll have to look into more detail. Scheduled her for drug classes, which they refused at drug counseling because it was a legal card, and then a quick adoption. They were trying to push it, to push the adoption no matter what. Alice is saying, agreed, nobody wants to believe the CPS is unethical. Rehab would not treat her for legal pot. They refused, she was stuck. Bimi counseling is saying, hard to control so many children locked up inside. Would they be safe drugged? Alice is saying, CPS only gets paid for adopting kids out. They make no money from family placement. Hmm. So CPS are getting paid for adopting kids out. I didn't know that. I think that they do. You know why I was saying about this scheme? Because I think that a similar thing is happening with prisons, with jail in the US. I'm not entirely sure 100%, but it seems that there are some private institutions who are donating to the to jails in general, so it's not coming from the government. And then the prison system, the more inmates they get, the more money they are getting from the government. I'm not quite sure how it works, but I think that I've read somewhere a case where the inmates they were being convicted for crimes which were not so grave as to be convicted to go to jail, but the judge did it only to send more inmates to that prison so that they get more money. Now, again, I am not exactly sure how it works in the US, but I know that I've read about this somewhere. So I was thinking that perhaps it might be a similar way with the CPS. On another note, anybody read some of the CIA UFO documents released? If not, give them a look. I did not. I didn't read, but I will give them a look, yes. Sounds interesting. Alice is saying, you think a UFO took them? Let's be honest, Jack is saying, I think that realtor was a shady lady. Either there was an affair or she was involved. No one lends 5 grand to someone after 4 5 months. I agree. It was definitely something going on there exactly, and she was also saying that she never expected to get those money back, but Trezell paid her back in monthly installments, and she was the same one who suggested the maintenance guy who boarded up the house. So how it was how it went was what? Hold. Okay, I'll start again. So the way it went was Trezell is calling the realtor, right? And he's telling her, he's crying, oh, the boys are missing, no one is helping us, and they are vandalizing our house and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, don't worry, I have a maintenance guy, I can put him in contact with you and he can help you out with boarding up your house. So she apparently was the one who suggested the boarding up of the house. Now, I know that some people are saying the police boarded up the house and they paid for the boarding up, but according to the realtor, she was the one who arranged for the maintenance guy to go to the house in Cal City to board it up, and Trezell and Jaqueline West paid for it apparently. Beme Counseling says she's probably a member. Who, Jacqueline? Alice is saying, I've given large amounts of money to strangers in need when I felt they deserved it. People do it. Yeah, that's true, but also for $5,000 is not, a tiny amount of money. Chelsea is saying CPS corruption is huge in US. They just did a documentary about it, not for trafficking, more so the government money grants involved. Yes. JD, anyone know how many sex trafficking cases in that area and how many kids found early in that state in sex trafficking cases? I am not sure. Alice is saying they said zero cases of trafficking in that age group. Stranger with science. Thank you. Yes, it will be. Chelsea is saying, sorry, my chats are so long, can't fit all info in one long post. That's fine. I don't mind. If it's an independent realtor, you make 3 to 6% commission on a 200K home. That's 6 to 12K. Realtor makes money even if the loan goes bad. Alice, even if the realtor lends him money, she makes much more than she lends. Plus, he made the first 2 reimbursement payments to her, 2 grand. I'm still wondering where did he get the money from. But she had only known him for 4 months. I just don't buy it. It was a loan because she cared. She never even met Jackie till he showed up with the family just before the move. Yeah, it seems that she met Jacqueline only on the day of the move when he turned up with the van and the kids in the back of the van and Jacqueline at the front. And she said that she wants to see the kids because they've spoken about them so many times. So she feels like she wants to meet them. And she greeted Jacqueline, who was, in the van. And then she went and she opened the back of the van. She said that she did see kids in there, but it was dark, and so she couldn't make out how many children were in the back of the van. Chaz is saying the issue is private owned prisons, jails, etc. You exactly right. I wasn't too sure. That's why I said it's worth mentioning. But that's why I even mentioned it as a comparison to the trafficking rings and children being adopted too quickly or being put for adoption too quickly from their bio families. And that triggered my memory to remember this issue with the prisons, jails. Sorry, in the UK we call them prisons. I know in American English they are called jails. It's a bit confusing sometimes. In school, I learned American English, and then I came to the UK, and everybody was speaking here British English. So yeah, I was confused. I'm still confused with some words. So just as a reference, in American English, you say pants to trousers. Yeah. In Britain, you say pants to underwear. So imagine when I said that here. Yeah. That's why I'm talking about panties. Never mind. Moving on. Let's be honest, Jack. Yes, he was paying her back. That's why I believe he was having an affair with her. It's possible. It's possible. Look, if you are charming enough to a woman, or even it works with the men as well, not only with women, if you are charming enough, you can get those money. That's 100%. Stranger with Science is saying it doesn't matter if she cares. She makes 20 to 120% profit in one day. It's a smart money move. Why is it jumping? Oh, yeah, it's here. Charlie, the loan officer that gave him money, has a previous fraud case. She's far from squeaky clean. Right. I didn't know that. Yes, they just sent little kids to jail for skipping a day of school. He got a kickback from the kiddie prison. Judge is locked up now. Yes. I couldn't quite put my finger on it because I think it was a long time ago when I've heard about this. Chief said police didn't board up house, West did. You are right. Yeah. As it seems, it has something to do with the realtor. So she was the one who actually put Trezell West in contact with the maintenance guy. She had already sold him the house. The 5 grand was after she was not going to make any more money or interest on the 5 grand, so there was nothing in it for her. Unless if she did have an affair with him, maybe she was, manipulated. I don't know. I still find it strange that she would just loan him $5,000, knowing him for 4 months. I don't think 4 months is enough to loan someone $5,000 in the way I see it, honestly. I was saying the woman member to cult, yeah. Oh, Stranger with Science. Okay, I got it now. Yes, I understand. Yeah, well, here they usually use only prison. Charles is also saying, oh, also realtor didn't even know about house in Cal City, had never been there. Trezell told them he wanted that house, but he refused the congrats sold home photo and final walkthrough of the house. Strange. Yes, and apparently he also told her that he wants to move off the grid. And when she actually found out where that house is, apparently she was very surprised. She said that she couldn't believe that he decided to buy a house in the middle of nowhere. But no man is charming enough to get that kind of money from me. Yeah, but not everybody is the same. I didn't know that the three loans failed either, if I'm honest with you. I do know that I do find it very surprising that with the income they declared, they were able to get a house. I was even telling my husband about it, and I'm like, look how much he earns, and it's just like selling his own beats, and he doesn't even have a business, so he doesn't have any income declared. And look how easy it is for them to buy a house. And we, even if we have income declared, we are still not able to afford to buy a house because no one is giving us mortgage. So I was on when I first heard about this mortgage thing and the house, I was under the assumption that it's much easier to buy a house in America. I even told my husband that, look, it's so much easier to buy a house in America than it is in the UK. So I was naive, really. I think the way it relates to the kids is because they needed to buy a house in the middle of nowhere to lose the trail. I think that's the reason why they moved from Bakersfield to Cal City, because something happened to the boys and they had to move out of there. That's why I still believe that something happened with Orrin and Orson in Bakersfield before they made the move to Cal City. I also don't think that they assumed the house buy, the process of buying will take so long. So it would be really interesting to see their activities in Bakersfield whilst they were waiting for a decision on the house in Cal City. If the boys were missing from Bakersfield and they were doing the dirty, maybe he had told her something. If they were doing the dirty, he might have. Although I'm not sure I see him to be the type to confess or say that what he did. Like if you look at it in a different way, say for example, we know that apparently she was a holistic person, right? And we also know that Trezell and Jaqueline, they were drinking and partying and things like that. So to me, it seems more like Trezell was trying to portray himself in front of her in such a way that is relatable to her. So even he was saying that he's holistic as well, although he was drinking at the same time. He said the reason why he's moving to a house with a backyard is because he wants to grow his own vegetables. He also said that the reason why he's moving from Bakersfield to Cal City is because he wants to go off the grid, which in itself is a huge telling factor. You want to go off the grid, you know. I believe the agent did it for the money. It was profitable for her. I do think she liked the family, though. Thought they were good people taking in kids. Honestly, I think everybody would think that these are nice people, the ones who adopt and foster children in general. And, you know, uh, most of them, I think that 90% of them, they will be nice people, obviously, because it's not everybody would adopt children or foster children. So yeah, I do think that the majority of them are proper nice people, but I also think there is a small percentage of people who adopt for the money and only for the money, and that they are not thinking about the child they are adopting as a human being. They are just thinking of that child as a money making machine, which is very sad. Chaz is saying zero claimable income makes no sense. No, it's not easy here. I think they are just very skilled in fraudulent activities. Foster care and home loan scam, you name it, fake ice cream business, probably more. Yes, I think you might be right. Yeah, if we deep dive into family and past, probably uncover a lot of fraud. When I bought my house, it was a nightmare, and we both have jobs. So yeah, so it's not so easy. I was thinking for a minute, let us move there to the US because it's easier to buy a house there. I'm joking. Same here, we had to give 10 years tax returns, 5 years job history, 10 personal references, etc. I wish I knew what they know. My God, that sounds so scary the way you say it. 10 years tax returns, 5-year job history, 10 personal references. Oh my God, I'll never be able to buy a house. Maybe he wanted to grow cannabis as his green veg and do they get drug tested before they foster kids? I don't know. Do they get drug tested before they foster kids? You know, profiling evil. He did make a point about growing cannabis. He said that those holes in the backyard they seem like to be in a certain pattern, and apparently the same pattern of holes is used when you grow cannabis. He seems to think that that's what the police did when they went in the backyard. I don't know what to make of that. Charles is saying it's just a lot of paperwork for houses. Yes, they get tested. That home was a previous grow home that was raided. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. So, do you think that they bought this house? Do you think that they decided to buy this house in particular? Alice is saying they said the house they bought used to be a grow house, right? So, do you guys think that perhaps they bought this particular house on purpose because it was a grow house? I'm not quite sure what to make of that. There was a drug bust there, realtor said it too. I think maybe they picked this house because it had zero electric bill because of the solar, right? To save money. So maybe that's what they liked about the house. It had that hidden room to grow. Grow houses carry insurance risk here, but are usually gutted and go for cheap, thinking it's drug rated and the parents are keeping quiet. Right? I didn't know about the grow houses. Grow houses? Are these like houses where everybody knows that you are growing marijuana? I don't know. Ah, okay, I get it now. Marijuana is legal in California. Yeah, somehow Trezell knew of that house. Odd. Ah, so marijuana is legal there. See, I don't know everything about there. So can they sell, or is it only for their own consumption? Didn't the neighbor say the drug house was further down and Avi went there and there was a shovel against the fence? I'm not sure about that. So where was that secret room? The growing room. I know that at 10 to Life, she got some inspection photos of that house, and she did say that there might be a secret room in that house, but she couldn't quite, point out if there was such a thing. So that's why I'm asking, where was the secret room? If it's personal use, you can grow 13 plants. If more, you have to pay a lot of money to get a distribution license. Oh, okay. Ah, do you know if the police searched that room? I know that they searched the garage. Little side business for Trezell, plenty of time on his hands. Yes, you are right there, yeah. If it was a grow house, they use every inch of the house they can to grow, living room, dining room, etc. JD then to live video, she said might be door in the garage leading to a room, might be used for cannabis, the garage up top. Right. While the police was saying that they've searched every inch of that house, and the chief of police even said that when he was asked by the reporter, he said that there is no such thing as a secret room. So I'm not sure. So Charlie, you're saying that the police were aware because in one of his interviews, the chief of police was saying that there was no secret room there. Grow houses usually have solar to not tip off the electric company. So that was probably Trezell's side business, his extra income. Because everybody's wondering how did they have all this money, you know? Okay, guys, so I have been on now for over 2 hours. I think I am going to end this live. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. And I will see you shortly. Good night, or have a lovely day if you are in the US or anywhere in the world. GS, thank you so much again for the donation, and thank you. I will let him know. And maybe in 2 or 3 days, I'll make a live with him. He's probably not going to be able to move out of bed, but yes, probably we'll do a live together. Good night, JD. Good night, Christian. Goodbye, Alice. Chelsea. Let's be honest. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and I'll see you next time. Take care and stay safe. Bye bye.